Reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 18, text 67. Idam te nata pakshaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrave vakyam na cha mam yobhya shuyate. Idam, this, te, by you, now, never. Ata pakshaya, to one who is not austere, na, never. Abhaktaya, to one who is not a devotee, kadachana, at any time, na, never, cha, also, asusrave, to one who is not engaged in devotional service, vachyam, to be spoken, na, never, cha, also, mam, toward me, yaha, anyone who, abhyasuyati, is envious. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor one who is envious of me. Please repeat. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Purport. Persons who have not undergone the austerities of religious process, who have never attempted devotional service in Krishna consciousness, who have not tended a pure devotee, and especially those who are conscious of Krishna only as an historical personality, or who are envious of the greatness of Krishna, should not be told this most confidential part of knowledge. It is, however, sometimes found that even demonic persons who are envious of Krishna, worshipping Krishna in different way, take to the profession of explaining Bhagavad-Gita in different way to make business. But anyone who desires actually to understand Krishna must avoid such commentaries on Bhagavad-Gita. Actually, the purpose of Bhagavad-Gita is not understandable to those who are sensuous. Even if one is not sensuous but is strictly following the disciplines enjoined in Vedic scripture, if he is not a devotee, he also cannot understand Krishna. And even when one poses himself as a devotee of Krishna but is not engaged in Krishna conscious activities, he also cannot understand Krishna. There are many persons who envy Krishna because he has explained in Bhagavad Gita that he is the supreme and that nothing is above him or equal to him. There are many persons who are envious of Krishna. Such persons should not be told of Bhagavad Gita, for they cannot understand. There is no possibility of faithless person understanding Bhagavad Gita and Krishna. Without understanding Krishna from the authority of a pure devotee, one should not try to comment upon Bhagavad Gita. So today's sloka, this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. So this is towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna, Arjuna has already heard the entire Bhagavad Gita, and he has surrendered unto the Lord, fully surrendered unto the Lord. And of course Krishna is now closing the chapters, and here from this verse we can see the qualification of who is able to hear the Bhagavad Gita. So here you can see Krishna says, for one who is not austere, 4 things are mentioned. One who is not austere, number 1. One who is not devoted, one is not a devotee, 3 things: devoted or engaged in devotional service. So if you are not austere, if you do not engage in devotional service, and if you are envious of the Lord, you cannot understand Bhagavad Gita, basically. So if you make it opposite, if you are austere, if you engage in devotional service, if you are not an envious of Krishna, that means you understand Gita. So it's the Krishna, from the negative we can also see the positive, right? So these three qualifications are very important to understand Bhagavad Gita. So it's very simple, because you see, many people think that just I can do anything I want and I will understand the Gita. It's not like that. It's a, you see, in the verse he says, Krishna says in the Sanskrit, right? In the next sloka, let's see the next sloka, 1868. Ya idam paramam guhyam. Guhyam means it's a secret, confidential secret. Mad bhakteshu abhi dāshati bhaktim mai param kritva mam evasyati asamsayaha. So Krishna says, for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. So this is a great secret, and you have to have qualification to know the Gita. Just like now, many of you all are professionals. Did you become a professional by just, going to the office? Do they employ you like that? No. You had the qualification in school. You had very high grades, I'm sure. Most of you all here. And then because you have that certificate, you had the qualification to work in that specific field, right? If we spend 25 years just to get that degree, of course in Singapore it's 25 years because you have to go through the national service. In India, I think you get it faster. So you spend almost 20 years of your life to be qualified to get a job. And how come Bhagavad Gita, anybody and anyone can just comment on it and use the Gita? Like if you see sometimes in the YouTube, some comments, they will put some quote, Krishna said this. Krishna never said that. In the Tamil language, there's a very famous quote. They will say, Krishna said that everything that is going to happen will nicely happen, and anything that is going to happen in the future will also happen. Some very vague statement Krishna makes, and then they say Krishna said in the Gita. But if you open the Gita, there's no such word like that. There's no such statement like that. Of course you might have seen some quotes. Krishna says, relax your mind. Don't think of anything. They'll put Krishna's name there in the quote, in the picture. So much of misinterpretation is happening in the name of Bhagavad Gita. But here Krishna very clearly says that you must not be envious of me. You must be austere. You must be engaged in devotional service. That's the qualification. Just like now, if you see this sloka in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna here, and he was, from the first chapter until this verse, Arjuna was just speaking his mind. I don't want to do it, I don't want to fight this war. He's giving so many excuses, so many reasons he's giving from his mind. And finally, what he says? Karpanya dosha pahata sabhava prachamitam dharma samudacheta yakshrayasyan nishtitam bhuritam me sisyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. Arjuna says, now I have confused about my duty and I have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. Karpanya dosha pahata svabhava. My heart, my swabhava, it's affected by this karpanya, this dosha. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am a surrendered soul unto you. Please instruct me. Sisyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. So Arjuna, what he's doing? He's qualifying himself to hear the Bhagavad Gita. He's showing that he's not envious. He's free of envy. He's having humility. Karpanya dosha. What is that verse in Sanskrit? Yakshrayasyan nishtitam bhuritam me. So Arjuna is Shreya, he's telling, tell me what is the best, what is the highest good for me. I'm confused now. So he's admitting that he's confused. Whereas many people who comment on the Gita, they write as if they know everything. Oh, Krishna means this. This is what Krishna actually meant. When Krishna says surrender unto me, there's a person called Radha Krishna, Dr. Radha Krishna in India. So he wrote the Gita that when Krishna says surrender unto me, not unto me, unto the Brahman in Krishna. So that is the interpretation. How come you are separating Krishna from who he is? Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. That's why Prabhupada was very clear that Ishvara, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Whereas the Mayavadis, they think that the Brahman came into this world and became in a human form. And they think Krishna is an ordinary man like me, but he's more intelligent than me. So that is a misinterpretation. So to understand the Bhagavad Gita, we must come to the platform Arjuna of being free from envy, being austere. So Arjuna is austere, as you know. His name is Gudakesha. He's a friend of Krishna. And he's engaging in devotional service also. He's always serving Krishna as a devotee, right? Like you see in the Bhagavad Gita 4.3. Krishna says in here, Sa evayam mayatethya yoga prokta puratanaha bhakto sime sakavacheti rahasyam hi etaduttamam. Krishna says that that very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So again, why Arjuna can understand? Because he's a devotee. This rahasyam. Even though we are reading Bhagavad Gita, you will still not understand unless you become a devotee of the Lord. That's the secret code. Sometimes you saw in some cartoons, like the cave is closed, and then you chant some mantra, and the cave will open. The secret mantra, So like that, the secret of the Gita can only be known. They were saying open sesame, right? Open sesame, it opens. So you can only open sesame, the Gita, if you become a devotee of the Lord. You must understand the Gita from Krishna himself, not by our own mental speculation. If you see this verse here, Krishna is giving another verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Mayam varnayato mushya ishvaraya no modatha shinvata shraddhaya nityam mayatmana muyati. See here, he said the Lord's different activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Lord. You see this word? It should be done with the accordance of what the Lord is saying. That's why we are reading the book called Bhagavad-Gita as it is, without any interpretation. Whereas any other Gita you read, you will not understand. You will just, So what that means, there are symptoms. If you understand the Gita, what are the symptoms? You will become a devotee, number one. You will be free of envy. So earlier we saw the verse, right? One who's envious, he cannot understand me. But if you come to Krishna consciousness, your enviousness in your heart goes away. See, this envy is a disease of the heart. Why all of us are here suffering in this material world is because of this envy. Matsarya, they call it in Sanskrit. Matsarya. So if you see the word Matsarya, it is also the fish, right? The fish is called what? Matsya, right? Among all the species of life, the fish is considered very envious. Why? Because the fish, he's always in fear that some other bigger fish will eat me up. And sometimes even when the fish gives birth to its child, it will eat the child also. Why? Because he's scared that the child will eat me next time. So this is the reason why we are in the material world now. Why we are here? Can anyone tell me why? Why are we suffering in this material world? Why are we embodied in this situation of birth and death, old age and disease? The answer is envy. There are a lot of kama, krodha, lobha, so many bad qualities, but one of the main reason is enviousness. We are envious of Krishna. You see? We all actually are Mame Vamsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We belong to the spiritual world. We are servant of Krishna. But we became envious of the Lord that why I can't be Krishna? Why can't I enjoy like Krishna? You see? So I mean, what's wrong being enjoying like Krishna? Because so this is where the philosophy is that we must understand that we are all part and parcel of Krishna. We are not the whole, we are not the supreme whole. If we are the supreme whole, then why are we now here in this world going through all this like COVID situation and so many problems, right? If we are the supreme absolute truth, why we are suffering? So it's very clear that we are actually under the control of the Lord. See, it's explained in this verse here, and 7.5 of Gita. So Krishna says that aparayam itastwanyam prakritim viddhi me param jiva bhuta mahabhaho yayedam daryate jagat. Besides this, O mighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So we are the Jiva Tattva. There's three energies, as I've told this many times. Three energies. One is Vishnu Shakti, Krishna's, the Supreme Lord's, his energy, spiritual energy. There is Maya Shakti, this material nature, and there is us, the Jiva Tattva. So now Krishna says that we are the superior energy. Actually, we belong to the superior energy because we are part and parcel of Krishna, right? Just like a gold mine. If you take a gold bar from the gold mine, a small gold bar is also same as the gold mine in quality, right? But not in quantity. So we have the similar nature of the Lord, but we are now trapped by this Maya's energy. So now the in this sloka you can see that this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. O Supreme Eternal, if the embodied living entities were eternal and all pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. See, how do we know that? How to know that we are not supreme? Now the question is, how to know this? Every one of us are under control, right? Somehow or other. Anybody can say, I'm not under any control? No. We are under control of the law of this nation, right? Can we say that I am fully independent? Why we have this icon here? Because I'm feeling heat, I'm feeling hot, I'm under control by nature. And then I have to counteract that suffering by doing some things like putting an aircon. This same aircon will be very difficult in winter season. Then I have to put a heater. So we are controlled in every situation. Very simple. We cannot even control our bubbles, right? We have to run to the toilet. So all of us are under control somehow or other. So this is how we can logically understand we are not the supreme. See? But if the living entities are accepted as minute energies of your lordship, then they are at once subject to your supreme control. Therefore, the real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control, and that surrender will make them happy. So the only way to get happiness is to surrender to the Lord. Instead of being controlled by this material nature, let us be controlled by the spiritual nature of the Lord. And that's where we get real happiness. And that is the whole reason why Krishna spoke this Bhagavad-Gita, to educate us to come to this surrender, the point of surrender. If you read Bhagavad-Gita and you do not come to the point of surrender, that means you do not know Bhagavad-Gita. If you read Bhagavad-Gita and you do not clear your enviousness in your heart, and you do not become a devotee of the Lord, then you have not understood the real Gita. You see, these are qualifications. So when you surrender, then you get happiness. So I was giving the example like a child. If the child surrenders to his parents, then he gets real happiness. Everything is provided by the parents, right? But if the child is lost, imagine you are going to a fun fair, and then your child goes missing. Imagine the amount of stress the child goes through, being lost, right? Or where's my parent? Who's going to? They are in so much of fear. So that's the situation right now. We are separated from the Lord. We have to get back to His connection. So now the topic I want to speak about in this verse today is about enviousness. So why we had this separation in the first place is because of enviousness. See, we can see enviousness in so many different levels. Now, even when we are children, we can see there's enviousness. Why Why this person has this toy? Why I cannot have this toy? I must get it. So enviousness means what? Basic meaning of enviousness is I something that how to say I'm envy that somebody has something and I also want it somehow or other, and I'm not happy until I get it. And even if I get it, even if I don't get it, or I want to make sure they don't get it. Classic example is who? Duryodhana. You see the Mahabharata, right? Duryodhana from childhood he was envious against the Pandavas. Not only Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra as well, his father. His father was so envious of the throne. If you see the Bhagavad-Gita, the first verse itself, you can see there is enviousness in that verse itself. Okay, you see this. Dhritarashtra vacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samavedayujutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kima kurvata sanjaya. So, Dhritarashtra is asking, "Oh Sanjaya, now that the sons of Pandu and the Kauravas, my sons, have assembled in this Dharmakshetra Kurukshetra to perform warfare, Samaveda Yuyutsavaha, Mamaka Pandavaseva." This is where you can see the envy. What you can understand here? Mamaka means my sons. Pandava, this is Pandu's sons. So in this line you can see he was envious. He did not see both of them of this, even though they are blood relation, his brother's son as his own son. He is making a distinction. This is my son, this is their son. This whole war is because the kingdom actually belongs to the Pandavas, Yudhishthira. And Dhritarashtra wanted it but hook or crook. He wanted his son to be on the throne. It's extended selfishness. He wanted to enjoy it through his son. So he was envious of the Pandavas. So if a king is envious of his own family members, how he can take care of the nation? You think logically, a king is supposed to help the nation, right? He's supposed to help his citizen to come out of this cycle and birth and death, right? But if the king cannot even conquer the envy he has against his family members, how he can help the citizens? This is why Krishna wanted the Mahabharata war to happen, so he can uproot all these envious people, these demoniac people. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj, a pure devotee, can come on throne, and that pure devotee can save so many lives. You see? So somehow or other, this enviousness is coming actually in a bigger picture from our separation from Krishna. Like I said earlier, we wanted to become God. See, why only Krishna is God? I want to be God. And I already showed you the verses earlier, the example that we are not God. We are under control. We are like the finger cannot say, I want to be the body. Finger has to serve the body to be happy, right? If the finger doesn't want to serve the body, then he's diseased. So we are in the diseased condition right now. So now, that enviousness in Krishna is also coming in this material world. When we are born here, how we are dealing with our people, with our friends, with our nation, our society. Sometimes we see that we are envious of we are envious of our relatives or our friends, or why he has a car, why I don't have, why he has a big house. Or example, this envious is tied to lust. Like you see many cases like that. A boy sees a beautiful girl, and then he thinks, I want to enjoy her. This is karma. When you think that I want to enjoy, that is again enviousness. Everything actually belongs. Bhoktaram yakya tapasam. Everything belongs to Krishna and for his enjoyment. But we want to take it away and enjoy for ourselves. That is called enviousness. So you see a beautiful girl, you want to enjoy her, you propose to her, she said, no, I'm not interested. And you get so angry, and then you make sure that nobody else gets her, so you attack her with some acid. You have heard many times these kind of cases, right? Why? Because of the enviousness again. So in this enviousness we had with Krishna, it is expanding into all living entities as well. Somebody who's, if you are killing animals and eating the animal, right? How much envy you have to have in your heart to see someone get murdered mercilessly just for your taste of your tongue. Isn't that envy? It's also envy. Because you don't care. Who cares? This is for my tongue, my enjoyment. But the life is suffering, getting slaughtered. See? So in every step of life, we have so much of envy against so many living entities. And you have this, if you have this envy in your heart, what happens? You're going to continue suffering in this material world life after life. Where Krishna says in the Gita, we'll see 3 verses now. In the 16th chapter, Krishna explains what happens. Ahankara bhalam darpam kama krodam cha samsrita mamatma parade deheshu pradvishanto vyashukaya. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and the bodies of others, and blaspheme against real religion. So even though the Lord is in everyone's heart, we have this envy in the heart. So we cannot understand the Lord. You see? Then we are covered by false egos, strength, pride, lust, anger. So Krishna calls them demons. And then we see the next sloka, that Krishna says, those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species. So is it good to be envious like that? You're going to keep repeatedly taking birth in many lower species of life, which is suffering. It's very suffering, And then, Asirim yoni apanam muda janmani janmani mama prapaiva kaunteya tato yanti samam gatim. Attaining repeated birth among the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So we are going to continue the cycle of birth and death if we do not take this envy out of our heart. This envy we have against Krishna, which is being manifested in many different forms. We are expressing this envy in different ways. Somehow or other I have to cause some destruction to someone. That is enviousness. Like how Duryodhana was. Like how Ravana was. Ravana was envious of Rama. Why only Rama is enjoying Sita? I also want to enjoy Sita for myself. Right? That's what people say. Many people actually support him. He is such a great scholar. He's a Brahmana. He knows all the 64 arts. But what is the use? What is the use of all these qualities if they are not used for the service of the Lord? And they are, in fact, these qualities that he had, he was so envious of the Lord that he was kidnapping Mother Sita from here. There are many people who defend Ravana. Say Ravana never touched Sita. Then how did he kidnap her without touching her? He grabbed her. And then they said, he never touched her in 1 year. In the first place, if he's such a gentleman, why did he have to kidnap someone? How you can justify Ravana's character, you tell me? So those people who are envious of Krishna, they are supporting Ravana, you see. Those people who are envious of Rama, they are supporting Ravana. Because there are also many Ravanas. Not only them. All of us have these Ravana qualities in ourselves. These 10 hates also we have. All these bad qualities we have. But we have to come out of this. There's also another argument. They say that Ravana, he was, when 1 year Sita was with him, he took care of her very nicely. No. He was threatening her every day. She wanted to commit suicide. Because he was threatening her, if you don't marry me, I will chop your head off. So earlier I was giving you an example of the boy who saw a beautiful girl and throw acid on the face, right? Ravana did the same thing. He said, if I cannot enjoy you, then I will kill you. And same time in the war, as you know, the battlefield, Rama is fighting the war and Lakshmana and the monkeys, and he came with a Maya Sita and he showed that I have cut Sita's head off just to make Rama in distress. And he also did that to Sita. He brought fake Rama's head, illusion. So all these atrocities he did. So how did this happen? Because of enviousness. So and also you see now in the modern world, these wars that are happening. Why is happening? Because of envy as well. Russia is attacking Ukraine. Or not only Russia is attacking Ukraine, so many people are fighting each other. Why? This land doesn't belong to us. Now let's say I'm living for 100 years. The land after I die, the same land will be still there. And after 1,000 years, the land will be still there. It's not mine. We are claiming, we are fighting for this land, this is my land, we are drawing all these lines, these boundaries, and saying this belongs to me, and we are fighting for it like cats and dogs, killing so many lives. Isn't there envy as well? Especially now you see in the current situation of the Russian war. It's happening because they found out that Ukraine has a lot of oil and gas reserves. And if Ukraine managed to dig out this gas and oil and sell it to the West, Russia will lose, the economy will go down. And in order to save their economy, they are attacking. But in the first place, that oil and gas doesn't belong to Russia, it doesn't belong to Ukraine, it doesn't belong to anyone, it belongs to only the Supreme Lord. Every one of us are thief only. Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. We are actually taking the Lord's property, enjoying for ourselves, and then we are telling this is mine, and fighting each other like cats and dogs, and so much of destruction in the world because of this envious quality. So all these things can be solved if we come to the Lord. That is the solution. You see. So I would like to even elaborate more points. Like even in Bhagavad-Gita, we see many stories where there are this situation of envy expressed. Example, we can see in the story of Chitraketu. Chitraketu was a great king. So he wanted to have a son, and he wanted to have progeny to continue the dynasty. And he couldn't get a child. So he kept marrying many wives, so many wives. In the end, he married 1 crore. How much is that in English? Is it 1 million? 1 crore is how much in Indian? 10 million. So I think, if I'm not wrong, he married 1 crore women to produce a son, and none of them could produce a son. And he was very, very upset and very distressed. How come? I have so many wives also, I cannot produce a son. So one day this Angira Rishi came to visit him and asked him, how are you doing? And he said, I'm very sad, I don't have a son, I don't know what to do. And Chitraketu said, the Rishi said, don't worry, I will help you. So the Rishi performed a yajna, and from that yajna, the oblations that come out of the yajna, some sweet rice that came out of the yajna. So he took that sweet rice, he gave to the first wife. And the first wife ate the rice, and she became pregnant. And finally he had a child. And after he got that child, he was so happy. Finally he had a child, and but you know what happened? He spent so much time with his first wife and the child, and he sort of neglected the other wives. And of course the other wives became so envious of this wife, the first wife and the child, that they decided that somehow we have to kill this child. And that's what they did. They poisoned the child, and the child died. And then he became more distressed. So from here you can see that, who thinks about killing a child, right? It's a very big thing to do, like to kill a child. Whereas this queen, they did not think about it because they were conquered by enviousness in their heart, right? So this is one example that how powerful this envy is, that it makes us do this kind of very sinful activities. We also can see Durva Maharaj, his stepmother, was very envious of him as well. His stepmother, Durva, right? As you know, Durva is the son of King Uttanapad. King Uttanapad is the son of Swayambhuva Manu. Manu is the son of Brahma. So Uttanapad had 2 wives, and one of the wife, Suruchi and Suniti. So Uttanapad was very attached to the other wife, Suruchi, right? So because he's attached to Suruchi, and he was more closer to the son of Suruchi, who's Uttam. Whereas Durva is the son of Suniti, and he's not so attached to Suniti. So one day what happened, Uttama is sitting on the lap of Uttanapad, and Durva also came to sit on his father's lap. And immediately the stepmother came and chastised Durva, saying that you cannot sit on his lap because you are not born from my womb. If you want to be a king, you have to die and take birth in my womb. So how much of spiteful and hatred and enviousness in that statement, right? So you can see from all these stories, so many other stories are there, that how this enviousness destroys all our good qualities. And when we have envious in the heart, we cannot understand this rahasyam etad uttamam. this Bhagavad-Gita. And if we cannot understand this Bhagavad-Gita, we cannot succeed in our human life of going back home, back to Godhead. You see? And what other examples are there of this envy? Of course, Indra is also there. Indra does a lot of, even though he is the king of heaven, he gets very envious when somebody does the Ashwamedha Yajna. Somehow he'll try to disturb the Yajna. In fact, he even got envious against Krishna. If you see the Govardhan Leela, right? The Vrindavan Vrajavasis were actually worshipping Indra for the rain, right? And Krishna says, you don't need to worship him for the rain. He is not the Supreme Lord. So Krishna actually told them all to worship Govardhan instead, who is Krishna himself. And Indra got so envious of the devotees, ex-devotees now. So he got so envious, like you see how much envy, even though he's a Devata, right? We are talking about Ravana. Ravana is a demon. But you see, even the Devata, they have this enviousness in the heart, like Indra. Even the Devata are not free from this quality of envy, see. So Indra started pouring so much of rain on Vrindavan and destroying the entire. And he did more worse than others. Because like you see, Ravana, he attacked Rama, right? Whereas here, he is attacking the pure devotees of the Lord, who are the Vrindavan Vasis. Actually, Indra committed the greatest offense, actually. In fact, he speaks this verse in the 10th canto. Vachalam balisham stabdham aghyam panditamanita krishnam mritya upasritya gopame chakrupi apriyam. So what is the meaning of this? Indra says, Vachalam, Krishna, you're over talkative, you're talking too much. Does anybody dare to come here in front of the Lord and say like that? You see? So he's telling Krishna, you talk too much, you're Balisham, you are just a child. See, even the Devatas are not able to understand who is Krishna. Now you understand why today's verse it says that it's a great secret. Only a pure devotee understands. Even a Devata couldn't understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Indra couldn't understand. If Indra knew that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, why he spoke like that? He called him a child, Stabdham, arrogant. Krishna, you are very arrogant. Aghyam, you are very foolish. He's calling Krishna foolish as well. Pandita Maninam, he says, you are thinking you are very wise. Krishnam Mrityam. So he's thinking Krishna is a human being as well. Just like we were discussing earlier, so many scholars, they are thinking Krishna is just an ordinary man like me. Indra also made the same mistake. So this is a very serious subject matter. To understand Krishna, one has to be a devotee of the Lord. So here, because Indra was covered by this envious nature, he cannot understand Krishna. And of course, Krishna for 7 days carried the Govardhan hill, cut off his false ego, and finally he understood, this is my master. You see? So whereas a pure devotee never makes such a mistake. Because a pure devotee, he's free of envy. Paramo nirmat saranam satam. That's Bhagavatam. His heart is free of envy. So he can, even the Krishna comes in any form also, he can recognize, this is my Lord. This is the Supreme Lord. See, that is the difference between a pure devotee and even a Devata, you see. So now we have covered this point of this envious quality. Another story we know that we can see is the story of Daksha Prajapati. You know Daksha Prajapati, right? The father of Sati. Sati is the wife of Lord Shiva, right? So Daksha is a Prajapati. Daksha means very expert. There are many Prajapatis. So Brahma actually appoints these Prajapatis to produce offsprings, populate the entire material creation, right? So Prajapati, they are in charge of creating. So Daksha is one of them. And he was married to, so just now we were speaking about Swayambhuva Manu, right? Swayambhuva Manu had 5 children. Uttanapad is Dhruva Maharaj, father. So Uttanapad, Priyavarta, Devahuti, Prashuti and Akuti. 3 daughters, 2 sons. So these 3 daughters were also married to other rishis. And Devahuti, as you know, her son is Kapila Deva, who is Krishna himself. So like that in Bhagavatam you will see every chapter has different stories. So if you see the story of this Daksha Prajapati, he was the husband of Prashuti, uh, one of the daughters of Uttanapar, and they had 16 daughters, and the last daughter is Sati, who was married to Lord Shiva. So this Daksha, from the day one, from the first day, he is very envious of Shiva. He doesn't like Shiva, even though he knows that Shiva is not an ordinary being. He's not an ordinary devata. So what is the position of Shiva? He Shiram yata dhati vikara vishesha yoga sanjayate na hitata pratagashti hetoyam shambhutam apidata smarupeti karyat govindamadi purusham tamham bhajami. So we must understand the position of Shiva according to scriptures. Many people they think ISKCON devotees or Hare Krishna devotees are anti-Lord Shiva. We are not anti-Lord Shiva. We follow the scriptures and what is said. So Shiva is actually, like earlier we showed the three energies of the Lord, Vishnu Shakti and then Jiva Shakti. We are Jiva Shakti. There is Maya Shakti, Durga Devi. Shiva is neither Vishnu Shakti, is neither Jiva Shakti. Like Brahma also is Jiva Shakti, right? Brahma himself is Jiva. We all can become Brahma, When we came to the material world, we all were Brahma once. But now we see, we never succeeded. After Brahma, we fell down. We saw the verse earlier. Krishna said, you are going lower and lower species of life. Why? Because of enviousness in your heart, you are Brahma and you are going down. Now we are in a human body somehow. Let's not go down, let's go up. See? So Lord Shiva, he is actually Krishna himself. He is actually an expansion of Krishna. Just like Shiram yata dadivikara vishesha yoga, like milk and yogurt. This is Brahma Samhita. So milk can become yogurt, right? But yogurt cannot become milk. Correct? So Shiva is an expansion of Krishna to deal with this material world. Krishna is in the spiritual world, He doesn't directly deal with the material world, which we are in, this place of darkness. So to deal with the material world, he expands as Lord Shiva and comes in touch with Maya, Durga Devi. That's why it says here in this sloka, Harir Nirguna Shakshat Purukshat Pakete Para Sa Sarvadik Upadrishta Tam Bhajam Nirguno Bhavet. It says there, Hari Nirguna Shakshat, Lord Hari, however, has no connection with the modes of nature. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-seeing eternal witness who is transcendental to material nature. One who worships him becomes similarly free from material modes. So it says here very clearly that Lord Krishna, he has no connection with the material modes. What are the material modes? Sattva, Raja, Tama. The goodness, passion and ignorance, which is controlling this material world. So, the Lord of goodness is Mahavishnu, Vishnu. So Krishna himself doesn't come and deal with goodness also. Krishna is in Suddha Sattva. To deal in the material world, in the mode of goodness, he comes as Vishnu. And Brahma is controlling the mode of passion. Lord Shiva is controlling the mode of ignorance, the maintenance, creation, destruction. But people think they only think this is God. But actually this is just an expansion of his avatar. The Supreme Lord is Hari, Krishna. You see? So the Lord Krishna, to deal with this material creation, he comes as Shiva. So Shiva, being the controller of material nature, he can basically, to put it in a more analogical way, we are all living in this jail. Okay, we are all in a jail, and the controller of the jail is Durga Devi. You see, she is controlling this jail. Her husband, Shiva, the master of that. Shiva is the master of the controller of the jail. So he has the keys of the jail. Okay, he can open the jail also, the gate. But to go to the outside, to the normal spiritual world, Krishna has to open that gate also. So that's why Shiva himself says, I cannot give you liberation. I can give you all material prosperity to stay in this nice jail and have a lot of enjoyment. But if you want liberation, Mukti Pradata Sarvesha Vishnu Revana Samsayaha. Other than Vishnu, nobody else can give you. So he can open that door. Basically, he controls this jail, but he cannot give you access to the spiritual world. Goloka Vrindavan. So this is what you got to understand. So this is the position of Lord Shiva. So he's not an ordinary person, but same time he is not the Supreme Lord also. And also you must understand he is a pure devotee of the Lord. So many people, they are angry that, you see this verse, you see what Lord Shiva says. Ya param Ramasa Sakshat Trigunai Jiva Samjitat Bhagavantam Vasudevam Prapannam Sapriyo Hime. Lord Shiva is saying, continued, any person who surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, Bhagavantam Vasudevam, the control of everything, material nature as well as the living entity, is actually very dear to me. So if you want to please Lord Shiva, then do what he asks you to do. Be devoted to Krishna. That makes him the most happy actually. You know. So that's why when we say that, when we say all these things, people think we are anti Lord Shiva. No, we are not. We are following his instruction. So he is a pure devotee, he is fully devoted to the Lord. And he says, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, among all the Vaishnavas, he is the greatest of Param Vaishnava, topmost Vaishnava. See, there are two kinds of people who worship Shiva. One kind who comes to Shiva and said, all these demons, please give me this, give me that. They want some material power and they are causing so much destruction also. Like Ravana, he got the material power from Shiva. And then he did so much of nonsense. In the end, he was destroyed by Rama. You see? A lot of materialistic people approach him to get this material benediction and because their heart is filled with envy. But devotees also, if you worship Shiva, as, oh Lord Shiva, please give me Krishna Bhakti, then he becomes most happy. He becomes most pleased. So when we approach a Devata, we have to not worship them for material benediction. If you worship them for material benediction, as we are speaking today about enviousness, our heart has become more envy, we take repeated birth and death again and again. But if we approach them and say, please, my Lord, please give me the benediction to worship, to become a devotee of Krishna, he will be very pleased with you. So this is what you got to understand. So now coming back to the story of this Sati, Lord Shiva was married to Sati and Daksha was extremely envious of Shiva. A lot of envy he has. So one day what happened, there was a big yajna going on and all the devatas and everybody was there. Brahma was there, Shiva was there. And Daksha entered into the arena and he was very effulgent, very bright, brilliant, Everybody stood up to receive him. But of course Brahma did not stand up because Brahma is the father of Daksha, right? And Shiva also did not stand up. Shiva is even higher than Brahma actually, Lokapalaka. So, and Daksha, he saw that Shiva was not standing up, he was sitting on the seat. Actually what Shiva was doing is he was meditating. So if you see this verse, who is he? Bhagavatam Vasudevan, he is meditating on Vishnu. We'll see the verse later. So Lord Shiva was just sitting down and Daksha immediately came and started cursing Shiva like anything. He said, you are a useless guy. I regret giving my daughter to you. You are sitting in the crematorium. You are so dirty. Your name is Shiva. You are supposed to be auspicious, but you are so inauspicious. You are always having this all these ashes on your body. You are so disgusting. And like that, he was very, very offensive. And you know what he says? He says he has so much of envy in his heart. If you read, he has so much envy in his heart. He's saying that I'm not envious. I'm just telling you how the etiquette. So an envious person will never admit he's envious. He won't admit. He was saying that I'm not envious of you, but you must have etiquette. I'm your father-in-law. You should stand up. He was like that. He was cursing it, and he said, "You monkey eye Shiva." Like that, he was very, very, very offensive to the Lord Shiva. Why he was like that? Because he could not see another person more respected than him. This is another quality of somebody who is envious. When we see somebody has a good quality, we get angry. Why this guy? I must be better than him. I must outdo him somehow. And you know what happened? You destroy yourself. You see how you should see. If you see somebody, let's say somebody singing so nicely for Krishna, or somebody dressing so nicely for the Lord, you should appreciate that quality. Oh, this person is empowered by the Lord. The Lord is favoring him. So I should glorify this devotee for his service. And if you do that, your enviousness clears away. But if you can see yourself. Sometimes you don't want to glorify a devotee, it means you have some envy in the heart. Say, why I should glorify him? People should glorify me, I'm giving better class than him. Why they are only talking? Why they are praising him? I can sing better than him. So you can hide, you can put a show to the people saying that you're very humble. But Krishna can know your heart. And if he senses a little bit enviousness in your heart, he will not sit in your heart. He will not. He will not give you his blessings to you. So you must always appreciate like that. Oh, this person is so beautiful. Oh, because he's empowered by the Lord. The beauty is coming from the Lord. Everything you have to see in relationship with Krishna. You should see the super soul in the heart instead of just the physical. You should see the Lord is sitting in the heart. The Lord is giving him intelligence. I should serve this devotee. And by serving that devotee, you also will clear that enviousness. So this is, one of the things we can learn from Daksha, that he was very envious. He's thinking why, he's so proud also of himself, that he's such a great person, he's such a great personality. So like that, he left the place, he left the arena. Immediately he left, and so many people said, don't leave, please don't leave the place. We have to do the yajna, you are one of the main people here. He didn't care, he left. Immediately after that, what happened? The followers of Lord Shiva, Nandi, got so angry, and Nandi started cursing the entire community of Brahmanas, actually. The Brahmanas, because this Daksha is a Brahmana, Bhrigu Muni, all the sons of Brahma, right? So Nandi said, all of you, Daksha and all you Brahmanas, I curse you, that from today onwards, the meaning of the Vedas will not be known to you. That's what's happening, right? In Kali Yuga. When you go to the Brahman, so many Brahmanas are there, they are chanting so many slokas, but they are not understanding the real goal of the Vedas. Vedesha sarve aham eva vedyam vedantavit vedavit evacha aham. The real purpose of Vedas is to understand Krishna. But many Brahmanas, they are using the Vedas to do some karma kanda activities. What is karma kanda? Oh, you do this sacrifice, you do this parikharam, what do you call in Sanskrit? Parikharam, that is Tamil. Prayasthita. You do this prayasthita just to have a better material condition. They never teach you to come out of this material world. This material world is suffering. So many of these Brahmanas, they are just telling you, do this yajna, you pay me money. Or you see an astrologer, the astrologer also Brahmana, so it's a Brahmana art. Or you buy this gemstone, you buy this, I'll give you this yajna, this remedy, this will solve your problem. It's not going to solve your problem. What is going to solve your problem is to come out of this material world of birth and death. What's the point having so much of facilities in the jail? You're trying to be peaceful in the jail. Is it possible? No. So Nandi cursed and said that you will lose the meaning of the Vedas. You will forget the meaning of the Vedas. That's why in the Bhagavad-Gita, you see, Krishna says, 245, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvando Nitya Sattvasto Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. He says the Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Krishna also says, this Vedas deals mostly with this. So even if you read Vedas, you cannot understand Krishna. To understand Krishna, you must come to surrender to the pure devotee. Only then is possible. So Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties and gain and safety, and be established in the self. Krishna says you overcome these Vedas. So many of these Brahmanas, they are just doing these Vedic ritualistic activities without understanding what is the real purpose of the Vedas. And this actually started from the curse of Nandi. And after that, what happened? Bhrigu Muni also got very angry with Nandi, and he gave a counter curse to the followers of Shiva. He said, all of you all will become atheists. You will not know the Supreme Lord. Actually, I'll show you the verse so that it's more clear what exactly was the curse. So we can understand why this is happening. So it's 4:228. One who takes the vow to satisfy Shiva, that is the curse, or follows such principle will certainly become an atheist and be diverted from transcendental scriptural injunction. And that is exactly what's happening. So many people who are following Lord Shiva, instead of understanding that he's Param Vaishnava, instead of understanding he's a person, in fact many people become Mayavada. This philosophy of Mayavada, it says that there is no God, God is not a person, he's formless, he's Nirakar, he has no qualities. and we will become God. In the end, we do meditation, we are going to become God. This is atheism actually. It's covered atheism. So why this happened? Because of this curse of Bhrigu Muni to the followers of Shiva, they all started going in this direction. They speak the Vedas and all, but they want to merge into the Brahman. But that is also enviousness, right? If I want to become God, then I'm still envious, right? Why cannot I be the supreme enjoyer? That means I'm envying Krishna, right? If I want to be one with him, right? So you see, this is the curse where the followers of Shiva, Bhrigu Muni gave this curse. Next verse, you see. Those who vow to worship Lord Shiva are so foolish that they imitate him by keeping long hair on their heads. So all these agoris, they are imitating him. And then when initiated into the worship of Lord Shiva, they prefer to live on wine, flesh and other things. So they are taking this ganja and all these things. So all these things started from here, this curse of Bhrigu. So unfortunately, this is the situation that we, let's see the next one. Bhrigu Muni continued, since you blasphemed the Vedas and the Brahmanas who are followers of the Vedic principle, it is understood that you have already taken shelter of doctrine of atheism. This is exactly what's happening. Mayavada asak shastram. Many people are following the Vedas and scriptures, thinking that, if I read this, I will become one with God. I will become God. But that is not the correct philosophy. Correct philosophy, we are actually part and parcel of God. We are meant for His service. We are a servant of Krishna. We are a friend of Krishna. We don't need to be a competitor of Krishna and become Krishna. Example, I'll give you a story. When Prabhupada was in one of the temples, a man comes into the temple and he said, Prabhupada, can you teach me how to become God? Prabhupada said, no. I can teach you how to become the controller of God. Then he said, how? He said, look at the picture. So there was a picture of Mother Yashoda tying Krishna. He said, you see, she's a devotee. And because she's a devotee, she's controlling God. But you want to do this Nirakara and all this meditation, and you want to become God, which is better? To control God or you become God? See, controlling is even more powerful than God, right? So this is the philosophy of Bhakti Yoga. This is the philosophy of Vaishnava. We don't want to become God. What's the point? If you see, Arjuna is controlling the Lord. The Lord is becoming a servant riding his chariot. It is more enjoyable to be a controller of God and be God himself, right? And honestly, you cannot become God. You just go into the Brahman, you go to the Brahman, you just sit there. Eternally you sit there and doing nothing. And you get so bored, you come down to the material world. That's what happens. Klesho adhikarastayasam avyakta shakta chetasam. Krishna says, this Nirakar meditation, very difficult to do. And even if you achieve the platform of going to the Brahman and becoming one with the light, you come down again. What's the point? So if you are intelligent, you have to take up the process of what Krishna is recommending, it's Bhakti Yoga. So anyway, we see that all these curses happen. So Nandi cursed the followers of Shiva, followers of Daksha, and Bhrigu Muni cursed the followers of Lord Shiva. And then until now we are experiencing all these things that we see now. So anyway, now what happens next? Lord Shiva himself, when he saw all this cursing happening, he did not want to be participating in this. He just walked away. He left the place. He did not want to take any of this. And then everybody, the sacrifice continued like that, without Shiva, without the Daksha, for thousands of years. Then after that, what happened? Daksha Prajapati organized another yajna. And this time what he did, he sent, like you have a Facebook event, you send an invitation, right? Friend invite. He never sent friend invite to Sati and Shiva, even though she's the daughter. No invitation at all. And Sati, being his dear daughter, very close to Lord Shiva, very close to Daksha, she is like the youngest, right? Youngest child is always very dear. So she told Shiva, I want to go. I want to go and I want to see my family, I want to see my father, they are doing the yajna, all of us should go. Lord Shiva said, you shouldn't go. You shouldn't go to a place where you're not invited, and also when the person has enmity and enviousness against you in the heart. You shouldn't go there. And she was very adamant. She said, no, I must go. This is my family, my father is not like that. And Shiva advised her, you see, if somebody curses you, let's say an outside guy in the road curses you, or does something very harmful to you, you don't think much about it. He's an outside guy, you'll forget it. But if a family member attacks you, it's becoming more painful to the heart, right? The cruel words of a family member is more hurtful than the words of an outsider, right? So Lord Shiva also said this. He's your father. You will become very hurt. You will destroy yourself by going there. But again, she don't want to listen. You see? So, unfortunately, she did not want to listen, and she said, "I will go." And Lord Shiva said, "Okay, fine, you go. I will arrange." So he arranged all these Bhuta, Pretas, and all these ghosts and hobgoblins, his followers, basically, Nandi, everyone to follow her and protect her if anything happens. And while she entered the arena, her mother approached her, Prashuti, her sisters approached her. All of them were very cordial with her. They gave her so much of gifts. And Lord Shiva, and then she was looking at Daksha, and Daksha was not coming to her. Daksha was not looking at her at all, even though she was the daughter. So you see, if you have so much enviousness in your heart, you cannot reciprocate any love with your daughter as well. You even neglect your own flesh and blood, you see, because you have so much of pride and ego in your heart. He did not want to see her at all. And immediately she understood that this person, finally she understood the instructions of Lord Shiva that this person is envious of my husband. And immediately she came and spoke to him and said, "I want to speak to you." Say, "How can you behave like that to my husband? He's such a..." Actually, sorry, I forgot one point. Let's rewind back. When Shiva was convincing her not to go, Sati said, "What's wrong with you? You, on the day you were sitting down, everybody stood up. Okay, Brahma never stood up because he is the father of Daksha. You are son-in-law, right? Why you have so much of envy in your heart? Why you never stand up?" She gave a counter argument to Lord Shiva. "So you are also envious, right? You are also proud, right? Why you are sitting down? My father is there. You are just quite closing your eyes." And you know what Shiva said? So that's why he spoke that verse. What is that? Sattvam Visuddham 4:3. So Lord Shiva said this verse. Sattvam Visuddham Vasudeva Sabditam Yate Tatra Paman Apavrata Sattve Chatasmin Bhagavan Vasudevo. Say again, Bhagavan Vasudevo. Hi Adokshajo Me Namasavidyate. I am always engaged in offering obeisance to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. So Lord Shiva says, you know what he said? I am meditating. I didn't stand up because I don't realize he's there. Because every moment, Bhagavan Vasudevam is... See, we just sit down like that, 10 minutes meditation. Oh, I meditated. Shiva is in Nitya. Always his meditation. Of who? Vasudeva, Krishna. So he says that I was thinking of the Super Soul. So why I have to respect him separately? See, if you respect Krishna, it means, you must understand, you are respecting everyone. Everyone is respected. Because Krishna is seated in everyone's heart. And by pleasing Krishna, everyone, the whole universe is satisfied. You must understand this point. You do not need to do a separate thing, like you see in this verse. 11:5:41 Devarishi Bhutapta Nirnam Pitrinam Na Kinkaro Nayam Rinicha Rajan Sarvatmanayo Saranyam Gato Mukundam Pariharta Kartam. He says that, O king, one who has given up all material duties and taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one forefathers who passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. So by surrendering to the Lord, you actually finish your debts. You are indebted actually. You have a nitya karma. Karma is what? You have to satisfy the demigod, devatas, you have to satisfy the rishis, the ordinary living beings, the trees, the plants. So many things are giving you so much of support, right? Relatives, friends. So you are having so much of debts to fulfill. But if you actually worship, if you surrender to Supreme Lord Krishna, all these are satisfied automatically. So that's what Lord Shiva has told to Sati, that I'm meditating on Vasudeva. So I do not need to separately, do this. Jai Shri Shri Radha. So Lord Shiva answer was this, that I'm already doing. And of course, it's not that he purposely did not stand up. He was in deep meditation of the Supreme Lord. And because Daksha could not understand this, Daksha was envious. See, Shiva saw everybody as a servant of Krishna. He saw the Supreme Super Soul in everyone's heart. But Daksha could not see in that way. He saw everybody as, this guy is my inferior, this guy is my competitor, this guy is my enemy, you know, like that. So after that, Lord Shiva, okay, yeah, Sati goes, and then Sati has a debate, argument with Daksha, and Daksha was very cruel, like he did not acknowledge her at all. And Sati decided that I cannot tolerate this offense. And of course, there's a verse there, she speaks about how you should not tolerate an offense to a pure devotee of the Lord. You should either kill that person, or cut their tongue, or kill yourself. Of course, that's you can't do this in Kali Yuga. You cannot go and kill people. But at least you should, if somebody is offending the Lord, you should speak up. You should know the Shastra and you should, speak up the truth. You should not remain silent. So Sati said, what is the point of this body? You see, I am known as Dakshayani. Dakshayani means the daughter of Daksha, right? And I am ashamed to have this body which is connected to you. And I will give up this body right now. And she just burned herself in flames. Right? You know the story. So even then, this Daksha was not moved. He was seeing his daughter burning in the fire and he was like, what is this? Who cares? Can you imagine the enviousness in the heart? So much of envy. So then what happened? Immediately the followers of Lord Shiva got so angry, they started to attack the arena. And then Bhrigu Muni, he did some mantra, and then some ribus, another kind of creatures, they came and they fought with the followers of Shiva. And then Shiva heard about what happened. Immediately he took his hair, threw on the ground, and a huge demon-like figure came. What is his name? Virabhadra. Yeah, Virabhadra. Very powerful demon. He came, he chopped everybody up. In fact, he tore Bhrigu Muni's mustache like that. you know. And then he kept, and they destroyed the entire place, and he cut off Daksha's head. Actually, when Nandi was cursing, Nandi actually said this curse, that Daksha, you will have a goat head very soon. Not God head, goat head, So his head got chopped off. And the whole, so you can see how Shiva reacted here. When he was insulted and humiliated, he silent. You say whatever you want, I don't care. But when he saw a devotee of the Lord, Sati is also a devotee of Krishna, right? She's an external energy of the Lord. When he saw his wife, who was a devotee of the Lord, getting insulted, he never hesitated to attack. So Vaishnava aparadha cannot be tolerated. Should not be tolerated. And then Daksha lost his head, and everybody understood that he made a great offense. And as the story goes, all the devatas, Brahma, they go and see Shiva, who is in Kailash meditating, and they offer prayers to him, and they pacify him, and they ask him to restore the life of everyone, and he does that. He restores everybody's life. And for Daksha, he puts the goat head. And then Daksha starts to speak, and he learned his mistake. He said, I had so much of enviousness, and this caused my destruction. So then he satisfied Lord Shiva. And of course, Vishnu came and told that you have to, basically you have to surrender unto the Lord. You have to surrender unto me. Then all his enviousness goes away. And then you won't get this trouble. So basically, Daksha got a second chance after that. And he does another yajna where Vishnu comes, and he satisfied Lord Vishnu. Like that, the story goes on. So basically, why we are speaking about this story is about the story of how enviousness can destroy ourselves. And connecting to the verse today, that the verse we saw, that unless this enviousness is cleared from our heart, unless we develop devotional service, bhakti to the Lord, unless we are austere, we cannot understand the Bhagavad-Gita. The knowledge of it. We cannot take up this process of devotional service. We will be again entrapped in this material world of birth and death. So like if you see the verse here, I'll share a verse, final verse. In the 9th canto, Of course, there are many verses like that, but this is one of the verses. Purusho Ramacharitam Shravanir Upadharyan Ansramsya Paro Rajan Karma Bandir Vimukchate. So, what this verse says that, O King Parikshit, so this is Sukadev Goswami speaking to Parikshit, anyone who actually orally received the narration concerning the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra pastimes will ultimately be freed from the disease of envy. See, we were talking about envy. He will be free of this envy and thus be liberated from the bondage of fruitive activity. So the only solution is you have to keep hearing the pastimes and the qualities of the Lord again and again. Shrinvata Shadyavan Nitya. Nitya. Shrinvata means hearing. Shraddhavan means with faith. Not just, this is a nonsense story. With faith. Nitya, always. And if you hear the pastimes of course here this is 9 cantos, so you are talking about the pastime of Ramachandra. But if you hear any of the pastime of the Lord continuously, the enviousness in your heart will clear. It will go away. When you meditate on the qualities of the Lord, like why Ramachandra especially. Ramachandra had so many wonderful qualities. Abhirama Gunakara Dasharate Jagadeka Dhanurdhara Dhiramate. Correct? Raghunayaka Rama Ramesha Vibhu Varado Jalade, forgot the last line. Varado Bhavadeva Dhaya Jalade. Abhirama Gunakara Dasarate. He has so many gunas. Abhirama Guna, so many beautiful qualities. And if we meditate on those qualities of the Lord, then we will also be able to get those qualities. Of course, you don't become Rama. That is not what I'm saying. You become a servant of Rama, like Hanuman. Hanuman was having all those qualities. He was such a pure devotee of the Lord. He exhibited all the good qualities of a pure devotee. Okay, let's see this verse again. If you do that, Yashasti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana Sarve Gunesh Tatra Samastate Sura Arava Bhaktas Tukuto Mahadguna Manorate Nasti Dhavato Bahi. So Yashasti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana. So all the qualities, Yashasti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana, all the qualities of the Devatas, the exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge, renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion to the Supreme Lord. Akinchana. That means when you come to the platform where you are in pure devotion, you get all the good qualities. So we are not in the level of pure devotion yet, but at least we have to keep progressing in our spiritual process, spiritual path. And how do we start that? We have to start by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. This Hare Krishna mantra clears all the enviousness in our heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. This is the first step you have to take. How to destroy this envious quality? You start chanting the holy name of the Lord. And His holy name, when it goes into your ears and goes into your heart and destroys all these, uproots all these dirty things in the heart. Chaito darpana marjanam mahadhavagni nirvapanam. It cleanses your heart. And when your heart is cleansed, now all these qualities will come. These good qualities can come. You see? And then we see, so if you become a devotee of the Lord, you will have all these qualities. And on the other hand, it also says, Arava bhaktas tu mahato guna. On the other hand, a person who devoid of devotional service, if you are not engaging in devotional service, engaged in material activities, has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculation, manorate nasti, and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? So if you neglect the Lord, you don't have any devotion for the Lord, you do not hear all these pastimes, you think I can do it myself, my mind is the authority, I'll do anything I want to do, then you will have a lot of enviousness. And you will think, I'm a good person, why bad thing happened to me? Many people ask this, I'm so good guy, why this? But you're not actually, you're not following the process given in the scriptures. How can you be good? But if you follow the process in the scriptures, all good qualities overflows from you. You see? Another important verse that I missed out earlier was, let me find this verse. See, when Sati was speaking to Shiva, right? She said, "What is wrong with Daksha?" At first, she don't realize that her father is so envious. What is wrong with him? She quoted this verse: "Vidya tapo vitay vapur vaya kulai satam gunai sabdhir asattametrai smrtau hatayam britamana durdarcha stabdana pashyanti hi dhama uyasham." So she said, what she said? Daksha has 6 qualities. What are the 6 qualities? Vidya. His education is very highly educated. He has tapo, austerity. He has wealth. huh? He has beauty. He has youth. He has heritage. So he has all these 6 qualities. So why you are not respecting him? So Shiva said, even although these 6 qualities are present in Daksha, are for the highly elevated, one who is proud and possessing them becomes blind, and thus he loses his good sense and cannot appreciate the glories of great personalities. So it's better we don't have these qualities. Because Daksha, because he possessed all these qualities, he became blind. And he lost his good sense, he had so much of envy, and he couldn't appreciate the glories of Lord Shiva. And then he fell down into destruction. You see, so Prabhupada actually gives a nice purport here. Just read this purport. It may be argued that since Daksha was a very learned, wealthy, and austere and had descended from very exalted heritage, how could he be unnecessarily angry towards another? The answer is that when the qualities of good education, good parentage, beauty, and sufficient wealth are misplaced in a person who is puffed up by this possession, they produce very bad result. Milk is very nice food, but when milk is touched by an envious serpent, it becomes poisonous. Similarly, material assets such as education, wealth, beauty, and good parentage are undoubtedly nice, but when they decorate persons of malicious nature, then they act adversely. Another example given by Chanakya Pandit is that the serpent that has a jewel on his head is still fearful because it's a serpent. A serpent by nature is envious of other living entities, even though they be faultless. When a serpent bites another creature, it is not necessarily because of the other creatures at fault, it is habit of the serpent to bite innocent. Similarly, although Daksha was qualified by many material assets, because he was proud of possessions and because he was envious, all those qualities were polluted. It is sometimes therefore detrimental for a person advancing in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness to possess material assets. That's why Krishna sometimes he takes away, because he don't want his devotee to become getting all this material power and then falling down. You see. So you must understand. So these material qualities, if you are not a devotee, you will not know how to use it also. Like Prahlad Maharaj was very rich. He had all these qualities. Yudhishthira Maharaj had all these qualities. But they were not proud of their possessions. They were always engaging it in the service of the Lord. That's what you have to learn. And you should understand, neither does these qualities attract the Lord. Krishna doesn't care about your wealth, your beauty, nothing. He only cares of your devotion. You see? So the most important point is devotion. You see this verse. Manye dhanabijan rupa tapasrutau steje teja prabhava balapaurasha buddhi yoga नाराधनाय हि भवति परस्य पुंसो भक्त्या तुष्ट भगवान् गजयूतपाय. Prahlad Maharaj continued, one may possess wealth, aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, education, sensory expertise, luster, influence, physical strength, diligence, intelligence, mystic yogic power, so many qualities, right? But I think that even all these qualifications cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You cannot satisfy the Lord with these qualities. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. Gajendra did this and thus the Lord was satisfied with him. Why Gajendra is being used? The Gajendra was an elephant, he's an animal. He doesn't have beauty, wealth, knowledge, nothing. All these things he doesn't have, all these qualities he doesn't have, but he satisfied the Lord because he had bhakti. So to cultivate this bhakti, we have to start by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. So please chant this mantra every day. At least you will come to 16 rounds. Please come and associate with the devotees in the temple. Purchase the books. Read this knowledge. Unless we understand the knowledge, we will not make progress in our spiritual life. Sentimentally, we will not make progress. Let's not be we've been doing this mistake for a long time as a Hindu. Just going to temple and just like that and coming out. No. Let's take it seriously. Let's read our Bhagavad-Gita. Let's read our books. Let's read our scriptures. Let's chant the Hare Krishna mantra and come out of this material world once and for all. So this is the conclusion of today's class. Is there anybody has questions or any comments, points to be raised?
Just now the 4, 3, 17, all these things intoxicate a person, and then the opposite of that is there in 22, 26 and 27.
Yeah. If you're not proud about it. 8 what? 26. So Tati Prabhu is also giving another verse that Jarma Karma Vayo Rupa Vityai Sharvadha Danabihi Yatasya Na Bhavet Stambas Tatrayam Mat Anugraha. If a human being is born in an aristocratic family or higher status of life, if he performs wonderful activities, if he is youthful, if he has personal beauty, a good education, a good wealth, if he is nonetheless not proud of his opulences, it is to be understood that he is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the other one. So if you are, the only way is to be humble, to be a devotee. So please start. If you have not started chanting, please start. Buy the beads later after Prashadam. You can buy the beads, get some books, and start your spiritual journey. And please keep coming every week. Come on the week. At least start coming on the Sunday program. After that, start coming in the morning. Increase your spiritual life and services. So, okay, any other announcement? No. So we will stop the class here. We'll have a last arati, followed by Prashadam in the 5th floor. Jai Gurudra Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Gaur